Hello, this is James. So, with all of the new changes and all the new boxes and all the new stuff, I thought it would be helpful for me to make a video for new players, for free-to-play players, for people that just like the big version of my face, a guide for how to spend your gems for all of the new changes that are coming to Duel Links, our most favorite game. And my first and most important message is this: do not spend your gems. We're gonna get 5Ds and most likely a whole new mechanic of synchro summoning either around the time of the WCS. So around August 4th, probably maybe 3 or 4 days following the WCS, they're gonna drop the 5Ds world. But anyway, in 2 weeks, we're gonna have basically a whole new game and a whole new meta. So if you take away nothing else from this video, please remember that we're getting all new stuff very soon, and to simply wait, to simply save your gems and wait for the new meta to develop. And especially because you don't want to be left out in the cold. You want to have access to all of those cool new synchro monsters and all of that new mechanic business, but you need to see how it's going to be delivered to us. Is it all just going to be like through grinding characters? Are you going to need to get stuff from the next main boxes? All of that kind of thing. You know, I don't think that synchros are just going to be, you can just bolt on synchros to our old decks. So again, please wait and please take heed. Now, if you absolutely cannot take heed, if you must spend your gems now, let's do a rundown of the boxes that I think are going to be most helpful. And the boxes that are going to be the most helpful are actually, fortunately, the mini boxes. They're small and they have been meta defining. So that's beginning with Rampage of the Forest and the Sylvan's deck. Obviously this deck is no longer relevant anymore. It's no longer dominant because of the nerfs. But that's how strong it was. Konami went out of their way to nerf it. So next, we had Visions of Ice with not Blizzy Princey, with the Spellbooks deck. All of those free banishes, very strong, but it's faded somewhat. Our current mini box and the only tier 0 deck, according to Duel Links meta, that exists in the game is for hires. Now I believe that as a new player you get 4 or 5 new you get 4,000 or 5,000 gems as like a welcoming from various promotions from Konami, and with that you can very easily build a competitive for hire deck. The only super rare is Beat Bladesman for hire, and you only need 1 or 2 of him. You don't need the full 3. So you can go ahead and go through the box, you know, at most 1.5 times, get your 1 or 2 beats, and then every other for hire is a rare. Wiz, Dinah, the 2 little cats, and then Seal. Where is it? Yeah, so any beats that you don't have, you can replace them with Seal. Strategist for hire. He serves a very similar purpose, especially when you make the Donpa play. If you go Donpa into like a Dinah, you can on turn 1 you can have Donpa destroy himself, and then you can special summon him, or then you can have Seal search him out from the grave, that kind of thing. So if you just want to win, make a new account, build for hires, and ignore the hate. Ignore all the people that are salty about, oh, everybody's playing for hires. Everybody's playing for hires because they're good, and there's no reason to not play them. As much as people try to like pincer counter Wiz's negation effect, it still does require like, you know, a huge card advantage to be able to do that and to still win. Following the footsteps of Sylvan's, Konami might nerf for hires they've been out for a month now, so Sylvan's had about a 3-month lifespan before they got hit, so we'll probably have another 2 months of for hires if that pattern is followed. So again, build for hires. And then if you have gems left over, we can go into another meta-defining box, the Spellbooks box. All right, let's click on cards you own. This will give you the Spellbooks deck, which is not as popular. It's a little complicated, but it's pretty strong. And this box is also going to give you Treacherous Trap Hole, and this is like the strongest trap we have. You've probably seen a number of videos complaining about its very existence because it's just so much value. If you have no other trap cards in your graveyard, target 2 monsters on the field, destroy those targets. You actually want, and you know what? This is so valuable. Well, since it's a lone super rare, unlike a whole archetype, so like Konami could easily nerf for hires by saying like, okay, Dyna and Wiz are semi-limited, right? You can only have either 2 Dyna or 2 Wiz or 1 of each in your deck, and then they can do that because Dyna and Wiz are rares, whereas Treacherous Trap Hole, this is a super rare. The super rares and the ultra rares are the money cards, and the money cards from the box sets Konami has been reluctant to go after. So I think that Treacherous Trap Hole is actually gonna have a lot of good value going forward, because again, this is a card that people dig for, and I do think that it's safe from the nerfs. So 1 or even 2 or even 3, that's kind of pushing it, but definitely if you stick Treacherous Trap Hole into pretty much any deck, including dinosaurs, you can win matches that you would otherwise lose just because of reducing your opponent's board to rubble. Another mini box that you might consider looking into is we'll go all the way back to Servants of Kings. And when this mini box came out, my eyes popped. My eyes got huge because there were not this. Wait, let's go to cards I own. There are so many good cards. Well, there's 3. There's 3 really good cards in this box, and they're all still relevant today, months after Servants of Kings. And that's Wall of the Daddy, Forbidden Chalice, and Draining Shield. So Forbidden Chalice is, well, if you can run Paleozoic Canadia, Paleozoic Canadia is from a main box, but if you can run Paleozoic Canadia, people usually opt for that because it flips the monster into face down defense. But as a cheaper option, and also another way that Forbidden Chalice is used is in a deck that utilizes balance. Usually all of your trap slots are filled up with Wall of Disruption and Treacherous Trap Hole. So you need spells. You need a certain number of spells in order to activate that balance skill. So Forbidden Chalice, still very useful. Wall of Disruption, Wall of Daddy, excellent card, still used. It was really popular, and then it kind of faded out because people were playing a lot of Ancient Gears. But it's 2018 now, no more Ancient Gears, and Wall of the Daddy back in full force. And to a lesser extent, Draining Shield. So Draining Shield is not really a common card in the top meta decks, not to the extent that Wall of the Daddy and Forbidden Chalice are, but Draining Shield it's a toolbox card. You can drop it into pretty much any deck, and it can do good things for you, particularly in like your Counter Fairies decks or your Arrow Mages decks. Also, your stall decks make great use of Draining Shield. Now, for the main boxes, I recommend that you avoid them because, well, first of all of the main boxes from so Abyss Encounters was like the last. Abyss Encounters was the last like really good main box in terms of value. We got the water archetype. That was very strong for a while. And then we also had Aliens. So Aliens were the free-to-play deck, back a couple of metas ago. But they need some update. They need some searchers. They need some juice cards in order to be relevant today. And the water deck is very vulnerable to Cosmic Cyclone, which is a super popular card. Cosmic Cyclone is another ultra rare. And then, we're going to talk about the Dream Ticket. But basically, I think all the new players, and if you haven't gotten your ultra rare dream ticket, all the new players get ultra rare dream tickets because mine doesn't expire until like March of next year. So I think everybody that you know opens up a new account gets their ultra rare dream ticket. And if you don't have Cosmic Cyclone, definitely you know consider getting Cosmic Cyclone. I made a whole video about I go through every single ultra rare that you get from your dream ticket. But definitely top the list is Cosmic Cyclone. You know, it's not going to get it won't get nerfed. It's not overpowered, but it's very reliable point removal of any back row that you know can't be destroyed. Like for example, the water back row doesn't matter because Cosmic Cyclone banishes. So that was the last like really good like value main box. And then Valiant Souls, I think this is the 11th main box. Well, it has Paleozoic Canadia, but again, you know, don't dig for cards. It has Gear Gears. Gear Gears are like tier 3 now. And it has Masked Heroes, which I don't have faith in anymore. You know, Masked Heroes, they're getting pretty old. And also, you know, if you're free to play, if you're new, you're not going to be able to build the full Masked Heroes. Like, it's just, you need 3 Ankies to get the full effect, and you know with the free-to-play gems you're not going to get 3 Ankies. That's just the way that Konami has designed this game. One thing that you might want to consider from this box is so Amazons came out 2-3 months ago, and they're still going strong. And an essential card from the Amazons deck comes from the Valiant Souls box, and that's Amazoness Onslaught. And then I guess you know you also want your Baby Tigers, but that's less important. I mean, yeah, Baby Tiger is an important card in the Amazoness deck, but the most important is the Amazoness Ambush, and that comes from Valiant Souls. But again, you're just better off building for hires from the Clash of Wings, and then so the main reason I say to avoid the main boxes is the 2 most recent main boxes have not been that impactful. So the second most recent main box, Crusaders Battlegrounds, had Noble Knights, and Noble Knights, they're kind of like Archfiends. They're not quite as good as you know people expected them to be, given that you know they have top billing in the deck, and then stuff like Steel Swarms, and then these Monarchs. Like these aren't the good Monarchs. We have the good Monarchs are probably on the way. The Monarchs that you get from Crusader Battlegrounds are not the good ones. And then you know like Silent Swordsman and Six Samurai. That's memes. That's for memes. So yeah, Noble Knights. Yes, they're powerful, but they're not as good as they're not as good as other decks that you can get for less resources, for example for hires. And then finally Burning Nova. If you're free to play, I would not get this box. I mean, I got this box, but that's for making YouTube videos. But you know, stuff like Batteryman Industrial Strength, and then the new Light Sworns it hasn't shown that you know it's worth clearing out the box 3 times in order to get the Light Sworns and the Batteryman Industrial Strength. And then, well, I mean, I wouldn't write it off entirely because Maladokis. The Maladokis are, I think they have a lot of special summoning. I think they'll have to do, you know what, I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to speculate on what's going to have like, you know, synchro worthy potential. But basically this box, you know, the Maldolces. The Maldolces they're okay. Your Light Sworns are okay. Battery people are like one trick. You know, if you get out your Industrial Strength and then he gets hit with Treacherous Trap Hole, like, you know, you're done. And then, you know, Fire Formations, this is just a smash deck. And then Gem Knights. Gem Knights are flashy, but they're not like satisfying. They're not like satisfying to play. Either you get out all your Gem Knights and win in that turn, or you know you give your opponent a chance to set up a Treacherous Trap Hole. So that's it for, you know, my free-to-play advisory. Again, you know, the main lesson is one, wait for synchros. We're gonna get synchros in 2 weeks, so keep that in mind. And then also, you know, if you must build something now, build for hires. This is a tier 0 deck. It's the most dominant deck. It's gonna get you those wins, and that's how the game stays. I mean, you could get pretty much anything and, you know, make like fun decks with it. But if you just want to go on the ladder and dominate, again, for hires is where it's at. But more importantly, and this is the 4th time now, wait for synchros, wait for the 5Ds world. Thank you for watching.